some company is going to come along and they're going to offer some sort of insurance package. That's what I want. I don't want to be responsible for my keys. I want to say, here's my keys, you're responsible, and if something happens, then guess what? I'm coming after you, baby. You're going to be responsible for my wealth. That's going to be a key, and I'll pay 5% for that. I don't mind paying 5%.
The only concern really is if we get subpoenaed by a government.
What's going on, guys? K-Dub here with another episode of Crypto Zombie. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having a great day today. Bitcoin really still not doing anything, right? We are waiting for that move. Now, I do want to talk about the fact that Bitcoin was rejected at a very critical level, and right now it's bouncing off of that critical support, right? It's been bouncing off of the 200 weekly. Now, we have to be very cautious because what happens next, depending on what Bitcoin decides to do in the next week or so, could actually have some implications for where Bitcoin could be going in the short to medium term. Now, obviously, there have been some warnings recently about the U.S. debt ceiling, right? Everyone's been talking about it. The U.S. could run out of cash in the next week to 3 weeks, right? You might have heard Janet Yellen freaking out. Well, what is that going to end up doing to the crypto space if we see risky assets selling off? Is Bitcoin going to pump like the opposite of what we saw when the banks were collapsing? Or will Bitcoin not be able to be resilient enough? Or does the US even matter as much as people think it does anymore? We're going to talk about all of that. And you may have heard the update, but the Ledger CEO came out and officially spoke about the backdoor possibility into the Ledger update, and it's a little bit kind of shocking. You may want to stick around for that, especially if you're using a Ledger Nano S. So we have more people in these positions of power that are in fact pushing forward for Bitcoin. We're going to talk about it. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. now, he's running for president. He's a Bitcoin supporter as well. And if you guys haven't heard, well, the Bitcoin wizards are pissing off the Bitcoin maxis. If you don't know what I mean, well, lots of profanity at the end of this video, so put the earmuffs on for the kids. But if that sounds good to you, you know what to do. If you're not subscribed, definitely consider it. Let's dive in super quick. I'm not going to harp on this, guys, because I'm tired of saying the same thing over and over again. What I'm looking at right here is I'm looking for this yellow EMA, right, the bottom to flip. You see how it flips right here? Whenever we're above the yellow, right, it tends to be pretty bullish as long as the yellow's on top and we hold above it. And again, we flip. Once red gets on top, then we tend to fall to the downside. And of course, we want to stay above this 89 EMA. Now, right now, you can see currently we're being rejected by it, right? So what I'm looking for is for Bitcoin to essentially break above around that $27,500 area, close above that, and then I would say that we're not going to go down and close those gaps. However, if we do continue to fall to the lower side and we do fall below the $26,300 level, then yes, I do believe we're going to potentially come down here and refill the CME futures gap. Now, remember, I said this one's like a 50-50. I'm not 100% certain on it, but if we did fill it, that would be around $20,000. But nevertheless, we are still putting in higher highs and higher lows. So thus far, technically speaking, 25,300 is still the area short-term target. We haven't fallen below that. So as long as we can maintain above this, then yeah, as I've told you guys, if you take this area right here, the falling wedge, you take the largest area, you put it at the breakout point, and you can see right here, that brings us anywhere between about $56,900 to about $62,200 for this Bitcoin move. And I know you might be saying, well, that's pretty far to get to that point. Well, just give it time. These things are not straight moonshots. You don't want them to be straight moonshots, right? And ultimately, as long as we maintain above this legacy trend, as long as we keep putting in higher highs and higher lows on the long-term logarithmic chart, then realistically, there is no reason to panic for Bitcoin. And just a shout out to Skew, he was looking at the 4-hour and, successful bounce from weekly open to reclaim. Looking forward, would expect real positioning to shift and show up today as long as we hold the EMA trends. Then yes, we could have another attempt at $30,000. Right now, we're in that sort of no man's land. We're bouncing between the 89 and the 200 weekly, right? We're just bouncing between those two levels, hence why the price is so boring right now. Once we have a clear direction of a break, either to the lower side or to the higher side, then we'll have a better idea of how to play this range. Right now, you're just kind of guessing. If I had to say, the area to take that long would be around $25,300. So if you are looking to trade, not financial advice, definitely have a stop loss on, because we could fall through it. But I would say, at that point, you would have 1 point, 2 point, and then 3 points, right? So that would be the area, $25,300 lower leverage long. If you're interested, check out the tutorial above. We go over this all the time on the channel. I show you guys, what I'm doing. But here's the big deal. And I'm trying to make these videos quicker, because ever since they put me in YouTube jail, I have to go through a manual process where they have to actually watch my videos. So that's why my videos keep coming out late, because it takes like an hour to have a manual review. And this is going to be for the next 90 days, so it sucks. But anyway, let's move on, guys. Again, I told you my throat is still a little sore from Miami, but all eyes are on whether the US government manages to increase the debt ceiling further. Any failure to do so will put significant pressure on risk assets. There's no clarity on whether the US government will be able to increase the debt ceiling. Come on, guys, they probably are, you know that. But so far, there's a strong opposition to do this from the Republican Party. The outflows in Bitcoin, now just talking about what we've seen in these Bitcoin products, okay, CoinShares has reported that there's been about 33 million represented in negative outflows, right? So obviously the sentiment is scaring some of these investors short term. In fact, you're seeing the weekly trading volumes for crypto assets have dropped to historic lows, some of the lowest we've seen in 5 weeks, and this is suggesting a potential chance for a pullback, right? And we've also seen I think I had it over here. Where is it? Very low. Look at this. Look how low that volume is, right? You can just see it's just not as much interest as there has been, right? I mean, you can just see right here, the volume is just kind of coming to this dead stall right here. So that is something that we do need to pay attention to. Now, Janet Yellen has said that the department will not be able to satisfy their obligations if the debt ceiling is not raised by June. And in yesterday's video, we were talking about, could that potentially crash Bitcoin 40 to 80%? I don't think we're going to crash 80%. That would bring Bitcoin down to $5,000. That would just be insane. That would be totally insane. It would literally break this structure, right? It would completely break the structure, because 5K would bring us all the way down to like this area right here, right down here. That would be absolutely ridiculous. You would just destroy almost over a decade of Bitcoin price action, right? But like Cold-Blooded Schiller pointed out, the last time that we had the debt ceiling crisis back in 2011, we did see this 17% nuke, right? This was on the S&P 500. So will it transfer over to Bitcoin? I'm not sure. But as Janet Yellen says, waiting until the last minute to suspend or increase the debt limit can have serious consequences. Among them is harm to business and consumers. Crypto markets and stock markets have been correlated. So Wall Street bank strategists are sounding the alarm over the volatility, and they're saying it could potentially spill over into Bitcoin. Will it? Well, it's a possibility. But as I said, we have seen a lot of these players, these people in position of power, pushing back, standing up for Bitcoin. And, one of them was Robert Kennedy Jr. He was over, he's running for president. He was at the Bitcoin conference. And this is just a speech that he gave at one point. And this wasn't even on the main stage. It was just kind of like off at some dinner thing, I guess he was at.
And when inflation goes crazy, like I saw it in Chile when I was a kid, 2,500% inflation. When inflation gets to these, runaway, it will give them a bailout, and it's going to force the Fed to at least mediate its extravagance. So that's just another kind of one of the many, many reasons that I like Bitcoin. But beside all the freedom issues, it's absolutely critical, because it's the currency of peace, it's the currency of trust, and it's the currency of freedom. And fiat currency is the opposite.
I mean, even places like China, which are just so anti-Bitcoin, are having the financial district of Hong Kong looking to permit license to retail crypto investors, and that is happening as of June 1st. So that is right around the corner. This is going to create a lot of demand. We know they have a lot of very, very, very rich, right, high net worth individuals, especially in the Hong Kong area. So this is going to create that access, and this is going to create more possible demand for Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. And, now we're finally seeing people like, for example, Brian Armstrong from Coinbase. Even though Coinbase kicked me off, it's all good, guys. It's all right. But they are still fighting for the people. And, they're looking to do a TV campaign, which is focused on basically helping America to move forward in this crypto space. And this is a little bit of a promo for it.
Let's see, how do I start this? I'll just do it and tell me when to stop.
3, 2, 1.
The naive view of crypto is that this is some speculative asset that people are trading and they're going to lose their shirts. That's missing the forest through the trees. Fundamentally, crypto is not a financial product. It's a technology that can update all kinds of financial products. It can improve settlement times. It can make it cheaper to send money to your family overseas in another country. It can be a new way for artists to get paid. Cryptocurrency, regardless of what you think about it, it's not going anywhere. It can't be uninvented. Most of the world is embracing this technology now to update their financial system. And what I fear is that we're going to be sitting here in 5 or 10 years, and we're going to come back to crypto and think about it like we did with 5G or semiconductors and say, wow, now it's a matter of national security that we get it brought back onshore. We need to see what the potential of it is and where it goes. And we need to do that. We need a clear rule book in the United States.
Now, of course, there is still lots of safety concerns, right? Regulatory concerns, and it's not just leading with brute force, it's also how far can they take it, right? For example, former Coinbase Chief Technology Officer Balaji, he had that $1 million bet. He thinks that the US governments could try to use tech giants like Apple and Google to steal crypto from citizens. They could try to compel Apple and Google and other tech companies to hunt for private keys on their servers, devices, and browsers and remit any stolen funds to a cash-hungry federal government. This isn't cyber terrorism, he says. It's cyber war. It's not some random hacker who manages to sneak out a file. It's when the CEO of a company gives the lawful order to hack their customers. This is similar to what happened in 140 million Russian designated enemies of the state in early 2022. Every tech company turned on their former customers, which brings us again back to the ledger conversation. Is your crypto safe on your ledger, especially if you opt in to this ledger recover? But even if you don't, what could happen? Well, we did have the ledger CEO coming out, and he had to say this in a recent video.
99% of the cases, there is no collusion that is really possible between the three entities, and the way that this is built. But we've released a lot of content. The way that this is built, you can only only the user can sort of call back the three shards. The only concern really is if we get subpoena by a government to say now, this user specifically, we would like you to, retrieve the three shards, etc. So that's not a real concern in the end, because for several reasons. One, you only get subpoena like this by governments if it's a serious act, like terrorism, drugs, etc., etc. Like, it's not true that the average person gets subpoenaed every day.
Can I just interrupt there? Coinbase had all their customer data subpoenaed by the IRS.
John Doe.
Yeah, and so they had to supply every customer. Was it over $10,000 or 20,000?
20,000.
20,000
over a 3-month rolling period.
And they gave all their
And Coinbase
data.
fought back because they wanted, I think,
did.
3,000.
But Coinbase is a bank. This is not a banking service. Okay, so it's very different.
But it's what I'm saying is the IRS wanted that information. If something
There is no
like,
information for the IRS on this.
Well, you do have XPubs, but you had them before too on Ledger Live, right?
I mean, there is no real information for the IRS on this, etc. And by the way, again, this is, there will be trade-offs in the future. So we're not saying that, if you're uncomfortable with this, you can keep your 24 words and, keep doing what you're doing today. This doesn't change anything, okay? Doesn't change anything, doesn't create a backdoor. We can come back on open source, no open source, but in the end, we're a good actor. We don't create backdoors in our user's device. And by the way, if we did, the business goes south very quickly.
So that is very scary stuff, guys. Where have we been looking? Well, we've been looking to all other types of places. One company is Engrave. I like what they're doing. That's pretty good. That's something I'm interested in. I'm looking at. Obviously, if you have the older S and you've never updated it, you should be all right. If you have the S Plus or the X, then you have to make that decision for yourself. I wouldn't opt into this service. However, at the same time, the fact that he does admit that a government subpoena, although no average citizen is really going to get a government subpoena. I mean, unless you're some crazy, terrorist or something like that, right? They're not going to do that. But the fact that it can be done is something we should have to be concerned about. Now, you guys may have seen this video of Udi and Eric over with the, this big, the maxis are mad because the ordinals, they got these, wizards, pictures of wizards on the Bitcoin blockchain. And it's just this debate that's been going back and forth. I stand somewhere in the middle. of this whole debate. I mean, it does seem kind of stupid to be sort of spamming the network with pointless things. However, I do believe in freedom of expression, freedom of transaction, freedom of money. And if they built Taproot and they want to use it to do these things, who's to say they can't, right? And you know, in a way, maybe it's an eye-opener, right? Like, hey, you know, the Bitcoin network is getting kind of stressed out. Maybe that should be the incentive to see how we can, you know, fix that, putting some stress on it. So it's kind of a heated debate. It's not something I want to go into in today's video. Maybe another video, I'll dive a little deeper into my stronger feelings about this. But man, Greg Foss was over on this Twitter space, and I'm just going to say right now, earmuffs if the kids are around, because there is some very, very strong language on here. He was not happy.
Fuck you guys! You're fucking not doing the work! God fucking damn it, that Bitcoin magazine was a fucking farce! 2 fucking idiot wizards on stage? This is not a fucking joke, people! Fucking idiots, okay? Our fucking children are at risk! And we got these 2 fucking clowns on stage? Fuck you, Bitcoin magazine! You fucking dropped the ball!
He then continued on to say,
"You're a fucking loser cock, Udi, and your friend Eric Wall suck my whatever, okay? You guys don't understand. This is about the children. You want a grave dance because you're a narcissistic fuck who wants to be thought of as I broke Bitcoin. What a loser fucking narcissist little pussy. Oh my fucking Lord, he never would have made it out of a hockey barn in Canada. I can't believe that he wasn't fucking assaulted. And I'm not promoting that. It's a good fucking thing I wasn't near the door, because I probably would have gotten arrested. And I'm not violent. I just cannot stand people that abuse the future for our children. Please, this is not entertainment, people. This is a call to action. Okay?
It's the breaking Bitcoin song.
so yeah, I don't know if YouTube's gonna demonetize this video for that. I was gonna try to like bleep it all out, but I mean, obviously the guy's just angry. So, you know, you can clearly see, if you haven't checked out the Great Ordinal Debate, I highly suggest you at least go watch that video. It's a half hour. Very, very interesting stuff. Good. You know, it's just one of those things where, you know, the maxis are just not able to see, you know, any other way. I don't know. I like I said, I believe in freedom of all that stuff. And, you know, the miners, they don't care, you know, as far as the MEVs are concerned, right? Like he said. So interesting. Let me know what you guys think. It's a heated debate. That's for sure. I do believe, though, at the end of the day, that Bitcoin will prevail. It'll continue to do what it does. And, you know, they're going to find a solution. They always do, right? The same way that they did with Ethereum and all these other situations. You know, that's just what we do as people, right? We solve problems. Nothing is perfect. No protocol is perfect. Bitcoin is not perfect, even though some people say it is. It's not. Nothing actually in this world actually is truly perfect, right? Or without flaw. But we will, I mean, look at the internet, right? For example, TCP/IP, you know, HTTP, DARPA protocol, but then come on, like it's not perfect, right? But look at what we were able to do with these multiple layers on top of it. And now, you know, you're able to watch me in 4K on your phone while you're riding, you know, on the bus or something, right? And we're in completely different parts of the world, right? So, but the internet itself, the lower level of it is not really that, you know, crazy it's actually quite primitive, right? Same concept. So we're going to pull through. We're going to figure out. That's it for me, guys. Thank you so much for coming back to the channel. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you do want to learn how to trade, make sure you check out the tutorial popping up right here, right now. Until next time, stay crypto. And of course, peace out.